Hello, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here today. We are from the State University of Chiapas. MONSERRATH Hernández Gallegos is here with you. Hello, Monse.
Hello, hello.
MAYRA MENDEZ TERCERO and GLORIA GUTU MOGUEL. Okay. Our conference in Spanish is called Inglés Comunicativo y Competencias Socioemocionales en el DIF Tapachula. In English, it's called Communicative Basic English Course Design and Socio-Emotional Competences for Children at Centros de Asistencia DIF Tapachula, Chiapas. Monse is going to start explaining the context. Hello, Monse.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to explain about the contents. The place where the investigation took place was in DIF Tapachula, which the abbreviation in English is NSIDF, that the meaning is National System for the Integral Development of the Family. The participants were 20 students of the DIF and 6 teachers. The research questions are: what are the teachers' opinions about the teaching English communicatively for very young learners? The second, what are the strengths and weaknesses of the basic English course taught at the DIF Assistance Centers Tapachula in 2021? And the last one, improvements can be implemented in the redesign of the basic communicative English course of the children and adolescents of the DIF. The main goal and justification. The main goal of this research was to design an English basic communicative course for children and adolescents of the DIF Tapachula. The research tools used were the questionnaires of teachers, DIF students, and administrators. And the research methodology used was the action research through an education intervention. And the stages were 3 stages. The first was documental research and needs analysis. The second, educative intervention with course and workshops. And the last one, implementation of research and instruments and results. This is our main concepts about communicative competence according to Bagari C5 and Mihaly Igunovic mentioned that Hines said that the CEF communicative competence is conceived only in terms of knowledge, includes 3 basic components: language competence, socio-linguistic competence, and pragmatic competence. And the second concept is in communicative competence, a person or a group of a people have the ability to express or transmit their ideas and emotion in a native speaking or second language. Communicative were the process of the experience of various types that the sender receiver must use to produce or understand the species appropriate to the situation and context communication.
Okay. In the next step, we're going to explain the different models of communicative competence. The first model was introduced, well, this is not the model, the first one that started trying to differentiate linguistic competence from performance was Chomsky from 1957 to 1965. After that, Himes in 1972, he developed or coined the concept of communicative competence, and he divided or tried to explain the communicative competence, including the idea of an importance of culture. Therefore, we had he mentioned the linguistic competence and the sociolinguistic competence that included all the cultural aspects related to this Canal and Swain in 1980, they also tried to explain and develop three different areas: grammatical competence, strategic competence, and sociolinguistic competence. Grammatical competence and linguistic competence are usually referred to the grammar and the linguistical part of the language. Sociolinguistic competence, as we mentioned before, the cultural and the cultural aspect of the language. And the strategic competence, it was a new concept. It was very interesting because it was ways to be able to communicate even when like the spoken language was not the best part. So they used this strategic competence to be able to communicate. After that, we had Canal. Canal, well, he introduced another concept that it is very common up to date, that is called the discourse competence. This discourse competence was later on explained by Bachman as the pragmatic competence too, that they paid a lot of attention to the use of the language. So Bachman, 1990, had 6 categories in his description for communicative competence. Later on, we have Celce Murcia et al. In 1995. In this case, they had four concepts for this: the linguistic competence, discourse competence, actional competence, and sociolinguistic competence. It was, again, very interesting to see how each one of them was introducing or explaining in more detail each one of the competences. Later on, in 2001, the Common European Framework of Reference, 2001, divided these communicative competence in linguistic, pragmatic, and sociolinguistic competences. If you take a look at this on the internet, you will be able to distinguish each one of them in a very specific way. Later on, in 2022, a new competence was added, or they started talking about this new intercultural and plurilingual competence. In this research, advance of research, because it's not finished in this advance of research, in this thesis, well, the researchers decided to focus on this last one, the Common European Framework 2022. And this is the link if you want to enter. It is recommendable to enter this link and check all the things that each one of the competences includes. Okay, for the results of question number 1, what are the teachers' opinions about teaching English communicatively for very young learners? In here, we had the opinions of different teachers and of different ages. The first teacher was a 50-year-old teacher, female teacher, from a bilingual kindergarten. She had a lot of experience, and she was completely positive about that children are like sponges and like learning in a natural way. So she was very positive about the possibility of teaching English communicatively from very young age. Later on, we had teacher B. It is a 37-year-old male teacher, and no, it was a female teacher, sorry. And she said that she was also positive about this. She said that it was easily learned by children, that she had worked with them, but we have to look for very important materials, such as audios and videos. And to teach, she mentioned that it was very interesting to teach them in an unconscious way with games and reality. There was another teacher, he was 25, and in this case, he was not positive. He said that it is very difficult for kids to produce complex sentences, so it was not easy to teach communicatively to young learners, and that kids are always playing around and that they did not pay attention. Then we had the experience of the teachers at the DIF who were teaching there, and they mentioned that it is possible. However, it was also it is possible, but they could not achieve it completely because there were some factors or obstacles that made that goal difficult to achieve. For example, the time. Also, well, the material was good, and they are going to explain later on in the next slide what were the positive and the possible obstacles that should be improved. Then we had another experienced teacher from 51, and she mentioned that it was possible. However, there were some important factors to consider, such as the amount of time or weekly class and proper planning and implementation. There was a needs analysis in this course because the first stage, as teacher Monse mentioned, was that it was a needs analysis and the areas of opportunity. So in the first part of the research, they were analyzing a previous English course to make it improve in the second part. So in this needs analysis, this was the outcome. Some of the positive good things. Monse, do you want to explain them?
Yes. Okay. And we have the positive, good selection, preparation of material, teacher well prepared, top vocabulary through sounds, fully motivated students and teachers, diversity of topics, good collaboration and good relation among teachers and students, integrate values, positive institutional support from DIP, and the negative about the course is our topic organization is checking. The course did not consider the communicative aspect. Not enough time is exposed for English classes. Few classes per week. Socio-emotional competence in children were not developed. Difficult to standardize the instruction and difficulty of activities for multi-age class and mobility. No technology, no internet available, no appropriate space for teaching.
Okay, these were, as we mentioned, in the first stage, it was an analysis of the first course implemented in 2021. Okay, now the second one was what areas needed improvement. Well, as you can see here, there must be an improvement in the organization and transition of topics. So this is what the researchers are working on. In increasing the number of hours of instruction to 5 or 6 hours a week, because they used to go only once a week for 2 hours. The selection and redesign of the activities should be meaningful, with negotiation of meaning, ludic, and more communicative activities. Obviously, the selection is very important, and they have to try to make the students speak. The creation of an English course manual, which should prove with proven activities for future English and socio-emotional courses. How to integrate these two things, the socio-emotional aspect and the English aspect. The creation of technological games and activities without internet for development of English and socio-emotional competences. The English communicative manual should include the corresponding lesson plans for each activity. And this manual should include also the socio-emotional competence to work on and the values. 1 or 2 hours a week should include storytelling for developing values, intercultural and socio-emotional competences. As we mentioned in question 3, how did the socio-emotional competence help children at the DIF? Well, first of all, it helped them develop or improve academic performances because children became conscious of their own responsibilities. They were conscious about their feelings and how to act upon them. So the depression rates decreased. They were also, even though they were really small, because one of the things that happens with this type of context is that children are in movement, in constant mobility. Therefore, you can have like really young children, and then you can have like adolescent children. So what happens is that they have to learn how to open about their feelings when they are feeling in that way, so that the depression rate decreases. And also, they start learning how to work with their own management, because they don't have parents like pushing them. They are in a shelter. They are vulnerable. And also, by learning how to act upon their feelings, how to be positive and emotional strong, they are able to learn and act better upon their environment and be able to include in the social media, in the social community of Tapachula with more success. As a conclusion, Monse, do you want to do the conclusion?
Yes. In the conclusion is in the light of the above, is it possible to teach communicative to little kids? However, some constraints should be considered, such as the amount of teaching time, age of the students, the constant mobility, the planning is essential for having a communicative class. A manual should be created with the lesson plans and communicative activities. Some areas to improve are code selection, preparation of material, teacher would prepare tough vocabulary through songs, highly motivate students and teachers, diversity of topics, good collaboration, integrated values, and positive institutional support from DIF, and include socio-emotional and intercultural competence in a transversal manner in the course.
Very good. Well, these are our references, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
We hope you like this presentation, and we're happy to be here.